Hi, I'm Kevin O'Connor, and welcome back to Ask This Old House, where we'll go anywhere to answer your home improvement questions.
Did you know there's a right way and wrong way to mow your lawn? I'll show you the right way.
And I'm going to help these homeowners build a dream deck.
As you can see here, we're planning on a 2-level deck.
Right.
So we've decided to make an upper level and then have a step down that's on a diagonal that leads down to a more lounging kind of area.
Very nice layout.
Time to mow the lawn, Roger. You've got a couple lawnmowers that don't have an engine, but today, what do you say we use some horsepower?
All right, but before you start that mower, there's a few things we should check. The first is the oil. You want to check it while the engine's cold. You just open it up, and there's a dipstick inside, and make sure it's up to the right level.
And why check it when the engine's cold?
When the engine's cold, all the oil is drained down. You're getting a proper reading. If you check it when it's hot, some of that oil could still be up in the engine. You could actually overfill the oil.
Okay.
But the worst situation is to run this engine with low oil. You could actually seize the engine, blow it up.
Right.
The other thing I like to do is check the gas. Fill it up, but be careful when you're doing so. If you spill gas on a lawn or an asphalt driveway, it could kill the lawn and actually eat a hole in the asphalt.
Gas can ruin asphalt.
It can.
All right.
Now what we want to do is check the height of our wheels. I like to cut at 3 to 3.5 inches, and you can see there's numbers on here, so we can set those wheels to the right height. The next thing I do is check the blade. I want to cut with a sharp blade so that when it cuts the grass, it makes a nice clean edge. If you cut with a dull blade, it rips the grass, and the tear on that end would allow a fungus or disease to get into the grass.
Good. All right. Pre-flight check complete, right?
We're ready to go.
Let's mow.
Now, Kevin, this particular model has a bag on it. I only use a bag when the lawn's extremely long or wet, or if it's a newly seeded lawn, because if I don't use a bag, clippings will cover up the new seeds and they won't germinate.
Right, but if you're not in that situation, you prefer to mulch, which means that all of the clippings actually stay underneath the deck, and the blade cuts them out multiple times until they're really small.
Right, and then they drop down into the lawn and they just nourish the lawn.
Great.
When you're mulching, I want to make sure that this discharge chute is covered. Otherwise, a projectile like a piece of wood or rock could come flying out and injure somebody.
All right, what do you say we bag today?
Slide that right back on.
Okay, let me see, we start it up.
Now, like most of the modern mowers, this has a safety bar. You have to have your hands on this before this mower will start, and don't let go because it'll shut down the engine.
Okay, here we go. I like the electric start.
A lot better than the pull. I like to change the pattern I'm mowing every week, because if you mow the same way every week, you can actually leave ruts in the lawn from the wheels. After you make your turn, you want to just overlap your cut a little bit so that you don't leave any uncut grass behind. When dealing with something like cobblestones, you want to get as close as you can, but not too close, because if you hit them, you could damage your blade. It's better to come back later and clean it up with a string trimmer. When you dump the bag, I like to put it either in a wheelbarrow or on a top and bring it over to the compost pile. Where the lawn meets the bed, there's usually a drop in grade. If your wheels go into that drop, then your blade lowers and it'll scalp the lawn. So to make sure you don't scalp the lawn, stay a few inches away from the edge and come back with your string trimmer and clean it up. Kevin, that's perfect. Now we'll just come along with a string trimmer, clean up that edge. We didn't scalp the lawn, we didn't dull the blade.
All right, some good tips, Roger, thanks. Hey, did you just trick me into mowing the lawn?
Me? No. Want to see a fence I need painted?
Yeah.
Well, this is what's left of the old deck.
It's pretty rotted and it wasn't very stable, so we've decided to replace it.
Well, I bet taking that deck down was a big project.
It was, and you know what? We have something bigger planned. As you can see, I've already painted out the form of what's going to be our new deck. It's pretty big.
This yellow line right here.
Yeah, it's going to be 20 by 20. It's going to come all the way over to here. We got some stairs going right in here.
I see, so you get an inset right here with some stairs leading up to the deck.
That's right.
Yeah.
And let me show you what we're thinking about.
Okay.
So the plan is to have a 2-level deck. We didn't want to just have a simple 1-level square box.
Right.
So we've decided to make an upper level, which is for cooking and for eating. And then that will lead down to a lower level that's more for relaxing and lounging.
And a nice diagonal step right here. That's very nice.
Thanks.
Now, when building a deck, there's a few things that you have to consider. First of all, how you're going to hang it to the house, how you're going to support it in the field, and you have to get a building permit.
That's right. And actually, we did go to the town and we did get a permit, so we got that taken care of.
We also found out that we needed to get the property surveyed to ensure that the structure didn't encroach on any neighbor properties.
That's right. That's very important.
So let me show you what I submitted to get that permit.
Okay.
This is what I drew out myself to try to get an idea of where the footings are going to sit. As you can see, I have 12 of them here to support the deck.
Right.
And the green lines are the joists for the upper half of the deck. and the blue ones are the ones for the lower part.
And this diagonal right here represents the step.
That's right.
All right, now these beams right here are actually two 2x12s. So I looked at this plan and I said, because of the size of the support beams, they will span 10 feet with no problem.
Okay.
You don't need all of these columns. So I've done a rendering right here where it shows less columns, less posts, less digging, less concrete, and less formwork.
Sounds
All
good
right?
to me.
To get started, we have to work on the layout.
Great.
What we've done is we've set up a series of batter boards on the outside perimeter of our deck, away from our deck. The batter boards are basically a couple of stakes in the ground with a horizontal board attached to it. The batter board also allows a couple of things. It allows me to position the deck or get a reference off of the house. So if I lay this string, and I've got one end attached to the foundation down there, on top of my batter board, and I slide it until the string touches the foundation, right there, I'm now in line with the foundation. Now we're going to use the batter boards to establish a parallel line off the back of the house 20 feet out.
That's the size of the deck.
Right. Now you take the level, put it against the siding, and run a plumb line down. Melissa's going to measure from the level out.
Okay.
All right, 20 feet. I'll place a screw. I'll put my string line on the screw, and we'll go down the other end. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Okay, now pull the tape tight. I'm going to pull the string tight. I'm going to slide it right along the top of the batter board. That's what makes these batter boards so nice. I can slide it along the batter board, bringing the string line to 20 feet right there. Now I can mark the batter board. Put a screw in there and we'll be all set. Okay, this line right here that runs parallel to the end of the house represents the side of the deck. This line right here that runs parallel to the back of the house represents the back of the deck. And where the two lines meet, that's the outside corner of the deck. Now we wanted to make sure that this corner of the deck is square. To do that, we used the 3, 4, 5 method. So I took 3, 4, and 5 and multiplied each number by 2. Measured from the corner, 2 times 3 is 6, which I have right here. Now I'm going to go 2 times 4 and go to this tape, right in the corner. 2 times 4 is 8. Now we measure from the inside of each piece of tape diagonally. Measurement's 10 feet. That tells me that our corner is square. These 3 lines that run parallel to the back of the house represent the support beams that are going to hold the deck. Each one of these support beams have to have posts under them. To locate where the posts are going to go, we divided them in half and put a piece of tape in the center. We also measured back from the outside of the deck 18 inches for the other post. That means that this beam will be cantilevered over this post. Now the post has to sit on a concrete column. Now I'm going to mark for the column. All right, with all of our post locations marked, we can now remove our lines. We want to keep the lines nice and neat because we're going to use them later. Now, I suppose we could dig all these holes by hand, but that could take us a couple of days. To make life easier, I brought a small skid steer loader with an 18-inch auger that will drill 48 inches deep. We rented this auger for the day for $400, which includes delivery and pickup. How are we making out, Mark?
Pretty good. I think we're a little bit past 4 feet. I got to tell you, though, I'm surprised that they have to be that deep.
Well, in this part of the country, the frost will actually go 4 feet deep. So the building code says we have to be a minimum of 4 feet. If the frost should get under this column, it'll actually pick the deck right up.
Wow.
All right, now, we're ready to set a form. This is a 12-inch tube made of recycled paper. Now, I'm just going to put it in the hole. I'm going to line it up under the tape, and I want to space it a little bit off center. Now, I want you guys to backfill it evenly around the perimeter, and I'll hold it so it won't move.
All right.
Okay, throw it in there gently now. Nice and easy. All right, all of our forms are set, but we can't fill them with concrete yet.
Well, why is that?
Well, you need to call the building inspector, and he's going to come out and measure every hole to make sure we're a minimum of 4 feet below grade. Once he comes and signs off and says everything's okay, then you can get some concrete and fill them up.
Easy enough.
All right? Once the concrete is set, call me, and we'll start framing this deck.
Sounds great. We're looking forward to it.
Okay, me too. Wow, you guys have been busy.
Yeah, we sure have.
Well, the last time I left you, all the forms were in, and you needed to get an inspection. How'd that go?
It went great. He came by and checked the depth of each hole and passed with flying colors.
Well, that's always good.
Yeah.
So you've mixed up a lot of concrete.
Yeah,
How many bags did you use?
It's a little over 5 bags per column.
So about 42 total.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
The biggest trick to pre-mix concrete is making sure you have the right amount of water. You don't want the concrete to be too wet, and you don't want it to be too dry.
Yep.
All right. Now, the next step we have to do is we have to make a connection between the top of our concrete post and our wooden posts that are going to support our beam.
Okay.
All right. So I see you've drilled a hole and you put in an expandable bolt into the concrete.
That's right.
And now you're going to use these metal brackets that are going to sit on top. And that bolts down like that. And there's a flat plate that goes on top of that. And that actually allows about 1 inch on top so that the wood's not sitting in the water when it rains out. And then we can make a connection between the top of our concrete and our wooden post. Now we're ready to start installing our post bases. We reinstalled our line using our batter boards, which is parallel to the back of the house. We used the string line to dig our holes, to set our columns, and now we're going to use it as a reference to set our post base. The bottom of the post base, there's a slot so we can slide it back and forth. So we'll set this first one right here. Okay, now I'm going to put a washer and a nut on. I don't want to tighten it yet. Now I'm going to measure off of the string, see where we're at. It's 1.5 inches. Okay, so now we know where we're going to set the rest of our post bases. So we can tighten this one down. Okay, put the flat plate on there, and we'll go to the next one. We need to remove the first course of siding so we can attach the ledger board directly to the house. That was easy. Now we want to replace this metal flashing that we just removed along the back with this self-sealing membrane flashing. All right, and I want to make sure that it goes up underneath this row, and I also want to make sure it goes behind this remnant left from the first row. Now I've pried the siding out, and actually the nail has come with it, so now I can put my bar up underneath the siding against the sheathing into the nail. Now I'm going to hit my bar, bending the nail slightly. Tap it, leave my bar on there, hit the siding back, and now I can get that nail. Okay, here's one. To give us some access so we can get up and behind the siding, I've actually cut some wedges out of some scrap pieces of wood. I'll push it up, that will hold the siding out. This stuff is really sticky, and I don't want to take all the paper off yet.
Okay.
Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to slide this corner up underneath. Ready? Now I want to push it up. I want to get it right up in there. Okay, now I want to push this piece back in so it sticks at the top. All right, get your finger out of there.
All right.
There we go. Now, pull it back slightly. Now hold down on that. So that. Now, stick it here. Keep it nice and flat if we can.
Sure.
Now, pull off some more paper. Keep it flat. Now, peel off the last piece. Now, just lay it down nice and flat.
Way through.
Yeah, there's the first one, and that wasn't too bad.
No, that was pretty good.
All right, now we're ready to install our pressure-treated 2x8 ledger board. What we don't want to do is push it tight up against the underside of the siding. So I've cut a gauge block out of a scrap piece of a 2x4. I got the thickness that I have for my deck, plus a little bit of airspace. I can use it this way, 1.5 inches, push it down for the thickness of my rim joist. So I now have it positioned correctly. Put my gauge block back on the top. Now I'm going to tack it in place with some nails, and then later on we'll screw it in place. All right, Melissa, push it right up. There you go. Okay, now take the gun, push it against the ledger. Hard. Pull the trigger. There you go. That was easy, huh?
Yeah.
All right, now I need my spacer block down here. Okay, nail it off.
Whereabouts?
Any way you'd like. I want to make the joist spacing 16 on center. All right, now we're ready to set our timber hangers on our line. But to get the right elevation and the right spacing, I've cut a gauge block which will represent a joist. Put it in the hanger. Tack that little tab right there in place. That holds the hanger. Straighten it out. Tack this one. Okay, now we'll nail it off. This is a hanger gun, and actually the nail sticks out. I put it in the hole. Drive it home. Now we've nailed the ledger to the house, but that's not enough fastening. What we want to do is lag it to the house. We're going to use a 6-inch lag bolt, and I'm going to pre-drill the ledger with a 3/8 drill bit. Okay, put the first one in there. That's good, that pulled it right in tight. Now what I don't want to do is run a straight line with the lag bolts because I could actually split this with the weight of the joist.
Okay.
All right, so now I'm going to basically stagger my lag bolts. Up high, down low. Okay, Melissa, take the 2x8 joist and set it right in the hanger. The other end of the joists are actually going to sit on a beam right here. These are two 2x12s. They're going to be 20 feet long, and they're going to run parallel to the back of the house. This beam is actually going to sit on a 6x6 post.
What'd you do to the post there?
Well, I actually took the post and I cut a rabbet in it so the beam will sit in it. And I actually cut the top of the post on an angle so that if any water runs through the decking, it won't lay on top of the post. Now, the trick of this whole thing is the top of this beam has to be even with the underside of the joist. And it has to be constant to make it level right across. Now, the problem is the cement columns are not exactly level, and the beam has to be. Let me show you how I establish this mark right here. It all starts right here with this laser level. This laser level is spinning a laser light all the way around the yard in a constant level. I can pick up that light anywhere in the yard with this receiver right here. When it sees the light, it gives me a constant beep. That means I'm level. Then I marked a line on my board level with the underside of the timber hanger. I then took my beam and I measured down from the line to the bottom of the stick, and I cut the stick off square. Now I can use this stick and use it as a reference off of my laser, put it on any of the posts, and mark the underside of the board. And that's where I cut my notch. All right, let's pick the beam up and set it on the shelf of the post. You ready? Okay, let's flip it this way. Okay, now let me eyeball it with the string. Take it to you a little bit. Pick it up and slide it to you. Right about there. Okay, Melissa, ready to nail the center post?
Yep.
Okay, put 3 or 4 of them in there. Okay, let's put the second one up. Okay, now we've made the connection between the post and our concrete column using these metal brackets. Now we want to make the connection between the post and the beam using these galvanized carriage bolts. I've pre-drilled an 1 3/8 hole for the washer and the nut. I've also pre-drilled a 1/2 hole that I'll drive the carriage bolt through. Now I'll just tighten them up with our impact wrench. Now remember, our deck is actually 2 levels. We have an upper level that goes against the house with a diagonal step to the lower level. Now the upper level joist will actually fit into the hangers that are mounted to the ledger board on the house. The joist then comes out and sits on top of this beam. On the surface of the beam, we've mounted more timber hangers. Those timber hangers are to accept the joists that are going to go over and sit on top of these 2 beams. Now from the upper level, you're going to step down 1 step to the lower level, and that step's going to be a diagonal. So I can know where to cut my joist, I put a string line to show where the back of the step will be. Line my joist up with the line at the right position, and that's where I'll cut them. I think this diagonal step is really going to be a nice detail.
Yeah, sure is. It looks great.
Well, we got almost all of the upper deck framed, so we got a lot done, so we're headed for today. Now what I want you to do is frame the lower deck. So you're going to start the joists, you're going to put them in these hangers down here, and you're going to run right out here past the outer joist. Once you have all those joists hung, I'll come back and we'll do the decking.
Sounds good.
All right.
That was a lot of work. Are we going to get to see the rest?
Are we going to get to see the rest? This next episode, you're going to see the deck finished.
What's left to be done?
Quite a bit, actually. We're going to do the decking.
And so you're using a natural wood, no composite for you, right?
Right, this is a Brazilian hardwood. Holds up great for decking.
It's beautiful stuff, too. And obviously you're using it for the whole railing system. Look at that beautiful piece of wood.
Yeah, now I'm going to show you how to make the joinery between the railing and the posts, and also how to make the connection between the balusters and the railings.
Beautiful.
All right, well, next week we will finish the deck. So be sure to come back and join us. And until then, I'm Kevin O'Connor.
I'm Tom Silva.
I'm Rich Rithui.
For Ask This Old House.
Did he say say we will
Yeah,
finish
we.
the deck? We'll finish, right? I'm making promises. Yeah. We, I like that
We'll
line.
bring lights so you can work late.
Next time on Ask This Old House, we are out on the road solving your home improvement projects.
Hey guys, you did a lot of work, I can see.
Yeah.
You got the rest of the stringers in, you got them all cut off, and you got the rim joist on, and you even got the blocking in that I asked for.
Yep.
How'd you make out with the stairs ring?
Why don't you tell me?
All right. Piece of cake, huh?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I don't know about that. Tommy, come check out our graveyard of
A
stringers.
graveyard. Oh, we got a pile of lumber here.
That's next time. Ask This Old House. If you have a question about your house or a tip you'd like to share, please let us know. Visit our website, pbs.org, for expert advice, step-by-step videos, and much more. This Old House magazine, the companion to the television series, provides advice from our experts that you've come to know. You can use your credit card to order 10 monthly issues for $10 by calling 1-800-221-5900.